Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands! We're back! We have had quite a long break, but now we are ready to start again. In today's video we play Kill Team, with the Pathfinders against the Hand of the Archon. I'm Simone and I play the Tau.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will play the Drukhari. Before we started, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you are not subscribed and want to help us, join a growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is Awaken Control Cores, the two kill teams will have to deploy within these areas. There are 7 points of interest and they are arranged in this way. The operatives will be able to carry out the action Awaken Control Cores on the 3 points of interest on the right. This will allow to activate one of the terminals on the left. Once a terminal is activated, operatives will be able to perform the action Access Dormant Console on that terminal to score a victory point.
Each player gains 1 victory point every time the action Access Dormant Console is completed, and at the end of each turning point for controlling more display consoles or lectern consoles than the enemy.
The Tau ship has been boarded by a Drukhari raiding party looking for easy plunder. The enemies are trying to access the ship's controls to manage the accesses. The Tau will have to fight meter after meter to be able to stop them and access the terminals first, in order to secure them. The Tau kill team is made up of 11 Pathfinder operatives. The leader is a Shasui armed with Pulse Carbine. The other team members are a communication specialist and a transpectral interference to take care of communications, an assault grenadier and the bloated pathfinder to form the front line, and a medical technician to deal with the wounded. 2 weapon experts, one with a ray rifle and one with an iron rifle, a marksman to protect the team from behind, and finally a drone controller with an MB3 recon drone.
A team of Drukhari intercepted information regarding an abandoned ship. The team rushed to the site to check and salvage as much as possible, but the information was incorrect. It's not abandoned. Prepare to fight, there are Tau to enslave. The Hand of the Archon kill team consists of 9 operatives. The leader is an Arc Sybarite equipped with Splinter Pistol and Venom Blade. Accompanying the leader is an agent equipped with Splinter Rifle. Then there are 2 ranged gunners, one armed with a Shredder and the other equipped with a Splinter Cannon. After the marksman, we have the melee specialists, the Crimson Duelist equipped with Splinter Pistol and Razor Flail, and the Flayer armed with Pain Sculptors. The next operative is the Disciple of Yalindra, and he is equipped with a weird weapon, the Stinger Pistol. It has no ballistic skill, but deals mortal damage based on the target's saved characteristic. And finally, the 2 support operatives, the Elixicant, which gives the possibility to ignore wounds at 6 to each member of the kill team thanks to the combat drugs, and the Sky Splinter Assassin, with his Faithful Bird, who can manage to eliminate even the most hidden targets. As additional equipment, I gave Toxin Coating to Elixicant, Sky Splinter and Disciple, which gives them the additional rule Lethal 5+ while fighting in melee. Then I gave Refine Poison to my leader, the Elixicant, and the Heavy Gunner to increase the normal damage of their ranged weapons. Also, in the Select Equipment step, the Sky Splinter Assassin can mark an enemy operative to make him reroll every dice roll of 6 thanks to the ability Omen, and he marks the enemy Ray Rifle.
This mission is particular. It is essentially divided into 2 separate sectors, and both are of high importance since we must access the terminals on the right to activate the ones on the left. Having to deploy first, I try to balance the number of models in each sector in order to be able to control both sectors. On the right, my leader will make way for the Grenadier, the Bloated and the Drone, and secure access to the sector. On the left, the remaining Tau will have to make their way to reach the terminals before the Drukhari. The easiest terminal to access, the one near the drop zone, will be my initial target.
Since Simone has numerical superiority, I try not to deploy my operatives to spread. On the left side, I place 4 agents to try to block Simone's models, while on the right side, I deploy the remaining operatives to try to take control of the mission consoles. My primary objectives will be to barricade myself in the middle room to leave no space for Simone to gain easy victory points.
It's time to do the scouting phase. Each of us chooses a number of dice equal to the corresponding number of the choice. 1 for Fortify, 2 for Infiltrate and 3 for Recon. Red dice for the Tau and blue dice for the Drukhari. We both chose Recon, so the initiative will be with the attacker, in this case the Drukhari. The defender initiates the scouting action, then my ray rifle dashes forward.
Namira, my duelist, dashes forward. Thanks to my leader's ability Cunning, I gain 1 common point since I have not used strategic ploys at the first opportunity. Then I reveal the Taku Central Control. At the end of the turn, I gain victory points if there are more friendly operatives within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield than enemy operatives. Namira activates, opens the door, and then moves inside the room behind the console.
The drone controller Imhotep is the first star to activate and moves towards the central corridor. With the second action, he uses Control Drone, which allows him to immediately activate the Recon Drone, with the possibility of making it ignore the special artificial intelligence rules. Then C2PO activates and carries out the mission action on the point of interest next to it, by activating the terminal next to the drop zone.
Crixus, the Flayer, uses movement and dash to reach his friend at the console.
When activating the Blooded, my Shasui uses Holographic Readout, so the Blooded will be able to perform a mission action for 1 less AP. Then Sunamoon moves, opens the door and reaches the point of interest. Once there, she performs the mission action for free, and activates the terminal on the left side of the battlefield.
My leader, also known as Barton, opens the door in front of him and moves behind the barricade.
Basur, the medic, moves forward and opens the door, then positions himself inside the room behind the column.
I spend 1 command point for the tactical ploy Heinous Arrogance and skip the activation.
Well, it looks like it's my turn again. Analna Track reaches the terminal next to her, then performs the mission action by whispering her own name several times next to it, earning my first victory point.
Kate opens the door in front of her and hides better behind the door.
Ryosun opens the door and moves inside the left side corridor.
Luther can't shoot anyone, so he passes his turn.
Cinabel isn't a fan of enclosed spaces, so he places an explosive charge on the wall and detonates it, creating a gap.
Gregory, the Lexicant, moves closer to the breachable wall and places a charge.
The Shasui enters the control room and takes cover next to one of the terminals.
Victoria moves behind the column and shoots the enemy ray rifle, making 5 attacks at 3+. Well, 3 crits hit.
Oh, I highly doubt I can save 3 critical hits. Like I imagined, a good start to the game. Ryosun would be dead, as luck would have it, the medic is right next to him, ready to revive him. The weapon expert returns to life with a single wound. All's well that ends well. My marksman runs across the hall to position himself behind the open door, then opens fire on the Drukhari who had fired earlier. By having a model in front of him, the marksman makes 1 less shot, so 3 shots at 3+. All hit, including 2 critical hits. Ouch!
Saving with 2 dice at 4+ because of the -1 penetration. One automatically saves thanks to the cover. Let's roll the other. A5 is not enough to parry crits, so both crits pass. Thanks to the Lexicant's ability, all my operatives ignore wounds with 6+. 8 dice at 6 to ignore wounds. Never mind. Victoria is the first to leave the battlefield. Norman activates and goes near the breachable wall and places a detonation charge.
With movement and dash, Koirei crosses the gap in the wall created by his companion and reaches the beginning of the central corridor.
Sabine enters the room and uses her ability Torment Grenade. I place a marker within 6 inches of her and I roll a dice for every enemy operative within 2 inches of that marker. With 3+ for the Blooded and the Shasui and 2+ for the Recon Drone, they are poisoned. Starting with the Recon Drone. 5. Great. Now the Blooded. 1. Shasui? Nope. That's unfortunate.
The Recon Drone earns this cute skull token. All yours. Iltai has no targets in sight, so he passes his turn. At the end of the round, that token obtained by the drone causes it 2 mortal wounds, leaving it with 10 total wounds. Not nice, I would say.
In this turn, I already lost 1 operative and failed to eliminate 1. I need to be more careful in the next turn since I don't have many operatives to use. At the end of the round, I gain 1 victory point for the control of the central console and 1 victory point for the TAC Coop central control.
The first round was a positioning round, with my Tau moving into forward positions. I managed to gain 2 victory points and eliminate a Drukhari model. Considering that Andrea kept almost all of his models with the Conceal Order, I'm quite satisfied. Now, the difficult part will be trying to keep control of the objectives against strong enemies in close combat.
Rolling for initiative. 2.
Here's a nice dice roll that says, I go first. During the strategy phase, my Shasui uses the ability Art of War and chooses Monka. Every time one of my operatives is activated, if he has the engage order, he can perform a free dash. Then I use a command point for Take Cover. When a shooting attack targets one of my operatives in cover, his save characteristic improves by 1.
I gain 1 command point since I don't use strategic ploys.
I reveal the TAC Coop Overrun. If at the end of the turn I have an operative in each quarter of the battlefield, I gain a victory point. The drone controller uses his ability to activate the drone immediately after him, then with movement and the free dash moves further along the corridor. Let's go get that victory point from the TAC Coop. The The drone, thanks to the drone controller's ability, can carry out the action of the mission and decides to activate the terminal next to my drop zone.
Sabine tries again to poison the 2 Tau behind the console at 3+, starting with the Blooded. Apparently he's immune. The Shasui, at least he's poisoned. With their second action, Sabine activates the central console.
Analna Track is already in position to activate the terminal again, earning another victory point. This will be her task until the end of the match. Then, with the second action, she uses her ability to give an AP to the Tau with the iron rifle.
Gregory makes a hole in the wall and runs to the console near my drop zone.
Sinabel, with movement and dash, moves into the central room and positions himself in front of the door. His objective is to physically block any Drukhari who wants to pass through there. The Usher, basically.
And again, I spend 1 command point for Hidio's arrogance.
The ray rifle is not in a very easy situation, so to avoid making missteps, he goes on guard and waits.
Crixus activates the central console, gaining me a victory point, and then moves in front of the wall on his right.
The blooded Tsunamoon fires at the Drukhari with the pigeon on his arm. No birds are allowed on the ship. 4 shots at 3+. I reroll 1 with a command point. Better. 1 critical hit and 2 normal hits.
Saving 1 automatically and 2 more at 4+. 2 save total. Rolling 5 dice to ignore the crit wounds at 6. Only 1 wound ignored. 4 wounds left to Kate. I spend 1 command point for the tactical ploy Devious Scheme. The next time Simone uses the reroll ploy, it will cost 1 command point more. And then, Kate activates. She uses her ability Mark on the Blooded and consider him as if he had an engage order. With the second action, Kate shoots the Blooded 4 shots at 3+. Rerolling the ones thanks to Ceaseless. That's 2 crits thanks to little 5+, and a normal hit.
1 dice is defended thanks to the cover, so I roll the other 2. Nope, not enough. Without the medic at his side, the Blooded was eliminated.
Since Kate has eliminated an enemy, she gains a pain token.
My Grenadier is again without any tasks to do, so he passes his turn.
Luther also passes his turn.
Mejai the Shasui changes the order to engage, then uses movement and the free dash to get into a good position and finally fires on the wounded Drukhari. 4 shots at 4+ for the injury. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
Saving again 1 automatically and 2 more at 4+. Just 1. Rerolling 1 with the pain token. Only the crit is saved with 2 normal saves, ignoring 4 wounds at 6. 2 wounds ignored! Kate is down to 2 wounds and is injured. Namira activates the charge on the wall beside her and then passes her turn.
Okay, now the iron rifle will do a lot of things, having an additional AP given to him by the comms. First, Koire uses the free dash of the Art of War to get close to the wall. Then places an explosive charge and detonates it, opening a new entrance to the room. With the third action available, the iron rifle fires on the Drukhari at the back of the room. 5 shots at 4+. 3 normal hits.
Ouch! Saving with 3 dice at 4+. Just a 6. Rerolling 1 with a command point. Unbelievable. Ignoring 8 wounds at 6. Yes! 2 wounds ignored. Norman is left with only 2 wounds and is injured, but is still alive. Norman then moves within 3 inches from the center of the battlefield and then shoots back at the iron rifle. 4 shots at 4+ because of the injury. 1 crit and 1 normal hit.
3 dice to save at 5+. Only 1 dice saved. Then 2 wounds suffered by Koire. It could have been worse. The medic is in a great position to do his job, so he will pass the turn staying exactly where he is.
Barton charges the enemy medic and uses him as a shield while passing the turn.
The marksman has some work to do, so switches order to engage and uses movement plus free dash to reach the opening in the wall in the hallway. Once there, he aims his marksman ray rifle at the white-haired Drukhari. 4 shots at 3+. Double 6? That hurts!
Okay, need 2 6s to save her. Only 1 crit saved with 2 normal saves. Since Namir has suffered 4 mortal wounds, I need to ignore at least 1 wound at 6 to keep her alive. And of course, not a single wound ignored. Namira leaves the battlefield.
Models with skull tokens indicating that they have been infected by the toxic grenade lose 2 wounds at the end of the turn, thus the drone and the Shasui. This turn I gain a victory point reaching 3. The situation is still under control and my Tau are advancing little by little and putting pressure on the Drukhari. I have a good chance of dominating the right sector while the left sector is perhaps a little more difficult to manage. Let's see what I can do.
This turn went slightly better than the previous one. I still lost an important operative, but I gained 2 more victory points, reaching 4. If I manage to take the initiative in the next turn, I should be able to take control of the left sector with the consoles and block Simone from gaining victory points.
Rolling for initiative. Oh, not bad. F5.
I won. Great. In the strategy phase, I spend 1 common point for the strategic ploy, Fleet of Foot, to allow my operatives to perform a free dash action whenever they move or fall back.
The first to activate is obviously my marksman Laebal. We need to eliminate the dangerous models as soon as possible, and the Flayer certainly is. 3 shots at 3+, as there is a model standing in the middle of the line of sight. I reroll a dice with 2 common points due to the ploy Andrea used earlier. Oh, a critical hit! Great! All hits!
Saving with 2 dice at 4+. Just 1 save. Ignoring 8 wounds with 6. 3 wounds ignored! Crixus is still alive. Injured with 1 wound, but still alive.
With the second action at his disposal, my marksman moves to the other side of the room near the door.
Gregory changes his order and engage and shoots the iron rifle, making 4 shots at 3+. 2 crits!
Double 6 again? I have 3 dice at 5+ to defend. Only 1 6. Too bad. Only 1 wound left to the iron rifle, but at least he's still on the battlefield.
With his second action, Gregory goes at the open door in front of him.
Sinabel kicks the door open and yells, "Boom, baby!" Then immediately shoots the Drukhari with a wound. 4 shots at 4+. Oh. Maybe he focused a little too much on the entrance.
Saving with 3 dice at 4+. He almost succeeded with the distraction. Crixus decides to charge both the Tau in the corridor on his right, and then fights with the drone controller, making 4 attacks at 4+ because of the injury. Rerolling 2 thanks to Relentless, 1 crit, and 2 normal hits.
The drone controller responds with 3 attacks at 4+. All 3! Not bad! You know your stuff.
I wasn't expecting that. Okay, Crixus deals damage with the crit.
Imhotep doesn't like this, so he strikes down the Drukhari with his attack.
Ignoring the wound with 6. Nope, Crixus is eliminated.
Imhotep takes 5 wounds from that attack, leaving him with only 2. How painful. The iron rifle tries to take out the last remaining Drukhari in the room. 5 shots at 5+. 2 critical hits? Alright.
Saving with 4+. 1 crit save. Ignoring wounds with 6. Nope, Norman is forced to leave the battlefield.
After sweeping the room of dust, you have to enjoy it. Koirei positions himself next to the terminal.
Sabine changes her order and moves to shoot the enemy leader with her pistol. As mentioned earlier, this weapon deals mortal wounds based on the enemy save. I roll 5 dice, and for each one it deals 3 mortal wounds, while for each roll lower than the target's save, it deals 1 mortal wound.
Thanks to the rule Save Your Protocols, the drone protects the Shasui next to it, taking damage in his place.
Rolling to eliminate the drone then. 5 dice at 3 or less. Rerolling a 6. 6 again. I don't think I've ever been this frustrated for a double 6.
4 mortal wounds sustained by the drone. 4 wounds left. Not in great shape. He's losing some gear. The drone controller uses his ability to activate the drone, then moves down the corridor. The drone activates immediately, changes the order to engage, and opens fire on the Drukhari who shot it. 6 shots at 5+ since it was injured. A 6 and 2 normal hits.
1 dice saved thanks to the cover, for the others I need 4+. Nope. Rolling to ignore wounds. 1 wound ignored and 2 wounds remaining to Sabine. Kay changes her order in conceal and moves to the console. Then, with her second action, she activates the console near my drop zone.
I can't eliminate his leader in close combat, I have to force him to make a choice, so my medic disengages.
Barton wants to fight, so he charges the enemy rail rifle and fights him, making 4 attacks at 2+. Done! I can finally reveal the Taco, Rob and Ransack, and gain a victory point.
I think he was the most useless model in this match, despite having a ray rifle. My Shasui can't let his drone get damaged, so he fires on the Drukhari in front of him. 4 shots at 4. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
Saving again 1 automatically and 2 at 4+. 1 attack goes through, ignoring wounds with 6. I'm sorry Sabine, it's time to go.
The leader, satisfied, moves to check the result of his work.
Luther uses movement and a free dash to reach the active console and does the mission action with his second action, gaining a victory point.
The Grenadier can finally do something. He enters the control room and stands next to the console and performs the mission action, activating the terminal on the left.
I have no more abilities to activate, so I can shoot Overwatch with one of my models. Gregory aims his rifle at the ion rifle inside the room and shoots him 4 shots at 4+. Thanks to Little 5+, that's 2 crits and a normal hit.
5+ to save, it won't be easy. Oh boy, that was so close! Unlucky, it was predictable. With only 1 wound left, it didn't have much of a chance. The comms is the last to activate and activates the terminal, earning a victory point. Once again, my poisoned models lose 2 wounds at the end of the turn. This turn, I gain a victory point for the Tacob Overrun, since I have a model in each quadrant of the battlefield. Then a point for the mission action on the terminal, reaching 5. The game has become more difficult and extremely fought. As I hoped, I managed to take control of the right sector. Now I have to concentrate on the left sector, and the most problematic point is where the opposing leader is positioned. I have to find a way to contain him.
At the end of the turn, I gain 1 victory point, reaching 6 in total. The next turn will be the last, so I need to secure as many consoles as possible to avoid giving victory points to Simone. He still has 2 Tacobs not revealed, so I need to be careful. We're really close in victory points, but I have 1 more. I'd like to keep them this way.
Rolling for the initiative of the last turn. Oh no, a 3 is a low roll.
6! The initiative is mine! Perfect! In the strategy phase, I don't use ploys, so I gain 1 command point. The first agent to activate is my leader, who charges both the enemies near the console. Then, Barton fights with the enemy comms, making 4 attacks at 2+. All hit!
3 attacks at 4+ for the comms. Tau in combat, not the best.
Barton parries the only attack of the Tau and then eliminates him with the remaining dice.
An track, I'm sorry, but you're out. I have to eliminate that bird from the sector, and the most direct way is in close combat, so the Shasui charges the Drukhari. Once there, he fights, making 3 attacks at 5+ for the injury. I only need 1 attack to hit. Damn! I reroll 1 dice thanks to the rule balanced. Nope! I use a command point to reroll a dice? Nothing! Such a bad luck!
Wow, he missed everything! I need to roll a 6?
Yes!
Kate points the bird that's on her arm towards the Tau and eliminates the enemy.
Why do you think pigeons are not allowed on the ship? Doesn't seem like a good way to behave.
And now, it's Kate's turn to activate. She does the mission action on the console and activates the console near Luther. Then, attacks the Recon drone with Razor Wing. 5 attacks at 5+. 2 crits and a normal hit.
3 dice at 4+. No! With an undefended critical hit, the drone exploded. He followed the path of the Shasui. Imhotep doesn't have much time left before he's out, so he opens fire on the Drukhari in front of him. 4 shots at 5+. 1 critical hit and 1 normal? Acceptable.
Saving with 3 dice at 4+. Just a normal save. Rolling to ignore the wounds. 5 wounds through. 3 wounds left to Luther. It's okay.
With nothing else to do, Imhotep charges the Drukhari.
Okay. Luther attacks the Tau that just joined him, making 3 attacks at 4+. Just 1 hit is all I needed.
The drone controller also leaves us. Goodbye.
With his second action, he does the mission action on the console, gaining 1 victory point.
The Transpectra interference uses deploy reposition for a command point, thanks to which he can use a dash to move away from combat. Sinabel reaches the terminal with the dash. Then with the second action he shoots the opposing leader, but before shooting I reveal the Tacob marked target. If I inflict damage on the enemy leader, it does not suffer wounds, but I gain a victory point. 4 shots at 4+. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
Saving with 3 dice at 4+. Nope, not even 1.
A victory point for me.
Gregory moves inside the room and shoots the enemy Tau beside him. 4 shots at 3+. They're only 1 with a command point. 1 crit and 2 normal hits.
5+ to save. Oh, what a terrible dice roll. It would have been useful to keep him alive. Since none of Andrea's models can do Overwatch with no targets in sight, I continue with the rest of my models. The Grenadier activates the console with the mission action and chooses the left side terminal to activate. The Medic approaches the terminal and accesses it, earning a victory point. The Marksman is 1 step away from the opponent's drop zone, so I reveal the Tacob plant signal beacon. Laebel places his marker on the ground within 6 inches of the zone and earns 2 victory points. Game over. With a final result of 10-9, victory goes to the Drukhari.
What an incredible match! The numerical superiority of the Tau was quite annoying during the first turns, but the toughness of the Drukhari prevailed. I think that the Sky Splinter Assassin saved me the game. I'm not sure I would have won if he hadn't eliminated the enemy leader and the recon drone shortly after.
I can't believe it! I literally lost the game because of the Shasui's failed attack. If he had landed even one attack on the guy with the pigeon, this match would have been won by the Tau. An entire game hinged on that single roll. I imagine the Shasui was punished for his mistake by being eliminated shortly after. It was a truly exciting match, with victory always within reach of both of us. Good game! Before finishing, we would like to take a moment to thank our members who have decided to support us on Patreon. And if you guys want to support the channel and enjoy an additional and exclusive battle report per month, or see your models showcased in our videos, the Patreon link is in the description. We are waiting for you on Discord.
And if you have come this far, write the word terminals in the comments to let us know. You are the best! And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!